Elizabeth Tudor, the Virgin Queen, a woman of iron will and unmatched brilliance. For over 4 decades, she ruled an empire with intelligence, cunning, and grace. But as the years passed, an obsession with maintaining the illusion of eternal youth became her undoing. This is the story of how England's immortal queen was slowly, secretly destroyed by her own pursuit of beauty. Every morning, her ladies-in-waiting prepared a strange and dangerous ritual, a royal transformation that turned flesh into porcelain. They mixed white lead and vinegar, creating a pale, smooth paste known as Venetian ceruse. It was the beauty secret of the age, and a silent assassin. Applied daily, it gave her that ghostly, flawless complexion admired by nobles and feared by enemies. But beneath the mask, her skin began to burn, crack, and peel. To hide the escalating damage, she applied even more. By the time she reached her 50s, Elizabeth's once glowing skin had become a battleground of sores and scars, all hidden under layers of poison. In portraits, she smiled faintly, regal, composed, divine. But in truth, her teeth were blackened and brittle. Sugar, once a luxury reserved for royalty, had become her weakness. Imported from the Caribbean and Asia, sugar was the new symbol of unimaginable wealth. Elizabeth adored it. Candied fruits, sweet wines, honeyed confections. This diet of sweetness, combined with a severe neglect of dental care, took a brutal toll. By her later years, she could hardly chew. Servants whispered that she preferred soft foods and avoided speaking for too long in public. Her royal smile, the one that had charmed ambassadors and terrified traitors, was vanishing, tooth by tooth. But even that she concealed. Her portraits remained perfect, her image divine. No one was to see the mortal truth of England's immortal queen. And then there was her hair. Elizabeth's red gold locks, once a symbol of her Tudor lineage and divine fire, began to thin and fall out. Years of stress, illness, and the toxic cosmetics had taken their toll, so she turned to wigs, magnificent constructions of silk and horsehair soaked in perfumes and oils to disguise the subtle stench of decay. But even those perfumes couldn't stop what was happening underneath. The constant pressure of the heavy wigs and the chemical-laced powders used to set them irritated her scalp. Infections spread. Her skin wept beneath the elaborate hairpieces she wore daily. Yet in public she appeared untouched by time. She would never ever let her people see weakness, not after surviving countless plots, wars, and betrayals. If her beauty was built on illusion, then illusion would rule until her final breath. Elizabeth's court was a strange world, obsessed with both science and sorcery, a place where alchemy, medicine, and magic often blurred together. Her physicians, desperate to preserve Her Majesty's youth, concocted bizarre elixirs and ointments made from mercury, vinegar, lead, and even arsenic. The Queen herself was fascinated by transformation, both of metals and of the human body. She believed physical beauty was divine proof of God's favor, and so her pursuit of perfection became a ritual of faith. But the more she tried to preserve her youth, the faster her body crumbled. Her skin took on a strange, unnatural pallor. Her eyes lost their legendary spark. Even her hands, once celebrated for being elegant and fair, became marked with strange discolorations, the telltale signature of lead poisoning. Still, Elizabeth pressed on. She ruled over a golden age of exploration and art, her empire stretching across vast oceans. But privately, she was a woman at war, not with foreign enemies, but with her own reflection in the mirror. Let's not forget, the Tudor court was notorious for its lack of hygiene. Bathing was considered risky, and clean water was a rarity. Instead, the royals relied on perfumes, herbs, and rosewater to mask the natural odors of life in the 16th century. Elizabeth's chambers were filled with sweet fragrances, jasmine, lavender, and roses, meant to symbolize purity. But as her health declined, those perfumes served another purpose: to cover the scent of infection, illness, and decay. Visitors reported that her very presence carried a strong, overwhelming aroma. It became her signature, the scent of absolute power wrapped in a deep, dark mystery. No one dared to speak of it. To be near her was an honor, even if it meant breathing the air of her slow demise. In her final decade, Elizabeth's carefully constructed mask began to falter. Her once proud posture bent. Her steps slowed. The heavy layers of makeup could no longer hide the truth. Courtiers noticed her constantly wearing gloves to hide her damaged hands, and high ruffled necklines to conceal the marks on her skin. But she refused to yield. She famously forbade mirrors in her presence. A queen who had once loved her reflection now lived in fear of it. The great virgin queen who had ruled armies and crushed rebellions could not conquer time. When she addressed her troops at Tilbury in 1588, facing the terrifying threat of the Spanish Armada, she was radiant, her armor gleaming, her words fiery. But even then, the mask of glory hid a dying woman. The lead in her makeup had seeped deep into her body. Her very blood carried the poison of vanity. In her last years, court artists painted Elizabeth as an almost divine figure, ageless, flawless, untouchable. Her face, powdered white, framed by jewels and lace, seemed more statue than flesh. This was no accident. Her painters were strictly forbidden to depict her as she truly was. Only the image of perfection was allowed to survive. The Virgin Queen was to remain eternal. Her image was a lie, but her power was absolute. Behind the palace doors, her health deteriorated rapidly. She slept less, ate little, and became withdrawn. Her servants noted how she would stand for hours on end, silent, lost in thought, as if haunted by the ghosts of her past. The woman who had defied kings, popes, and nations now battled her own reflection. On March 24, 1603, Elizabeth I took her final breath. She died surrounded by silence. No family, no heirs, only the whispering of courtiers too afraid to mourn too loudly. Her body, once worshipped as divine, bore the marks of decades of self-destruction. And yet, when she was laid to rest, her legend began to shine brighter than ever. The Virgin Queen became a symbol of strength, wisdom, and independence. History remembered her crown, not her corrosion. Her image, immortalized in paint and marble, hid the tragic truth of the woman behind it. But beneath every portrait, behind every poem, there lingers a secret. The queen who built an empire of beauty was slowly and horrifically destroyed by it. Destroyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more hidden histories. We'll see you in the next one.